Hi, I'm Chris Seaton, and this is a special report of the Sit Down with Chris Seaton. Uh, in case you haven't been following the Twitter or Facebook debacle that's occurred over the last 24 hours, first, WOZO staff told my producer, Aaron Campbell, that the sit down was not in violation of any of WOZO's rules, that they understood what we were doing with the fourth hour of that midday show, turning it into the sit down, and that everything was going to be fine. Yesterday, my producer got a phone call from one John Stewart, who is also part of the WOZO station DJ crew, stating that we were better off shipping our shows elsewhere because we were done at WOZO. We were suspended until the March meeting, and that there was no reason for us to hold our breath about coming back on WOZO because we would most likely be banned for life from the station. Well, a couple of thoughts on that. First of all, thank you. Thank you very much for sabotaging yourselves in the worst way possible. This is something that leftists never seem to learn. When you silence somebody or attempt to ban them from speaking, instead of actually engaging in that speech and trying to come up with better ideas, then lo and behold, the only thing that happens is you make the voice you try to silence louder and more obnoxious than ever before. Uh, Next, you guys needed us. We didn't need you. When it came to anything involving that show productions, be it that midday show or the sit down, our broadcasts on Tuesdays managed to command more of a listener share than anything your pathetic low power FM station got per week. That you wanted to eliminate 60% of your listener base, it's fine. Go ahead, do that. We also had the backing of the entire Scruffy City comedy community. That was part of the reason that midday show existed to begin with. One of the most successful broadcasts that midday show did was a live broadcast with some of the headliners of the Scruffy City Comedy Festival during the festival on the top floor of the Scruffy City Hall. And yet you guys want to get rid of that show because the producer decided in some respect that he wanted to give his listener base exactly what they wanted, which was a news segment, the fourth hour, just rebranded into something different, and for it to be something that was a little bit mischievous, dissident, fun, and very ultra conservative. And you know what? We did say a lot of stuff, and we did say a lot of things that were controversial. We never once crossed a line into any of the isms that we so lovingly poked fun at on any of the episodes that we've done so far. And yet, you guys felt that this was a violation of station rules. I find that really funny, given that the entire premise of WOZO was to make this a community run station after Knoxville's First Amendment radio station, KPAR, was shut down by the FCC, and the DJs had all their stuff taken, the content destroyed, all because they didn't follow the rules. And one of the really funny things about this ban is that prior to it, one of the Twitter eggs blowing up my Twitter feed over the various periscopes and videos I've done about WOZO's attempts to silence the sit down was a Twitter egg named Chris Irwin. Well, if you go Google Knoxville First Amendment Radio, KFAR, and FCC in the same breath, you'll find that there was a Chris Irwin who is one of the DJs for Knoxville First Amendment Radio. And the whole reason KFAR got shut down was because it was a pirate station that wasn't paying for licensing fees. So for Chris Irwin to say that I am disingenuous and a hypocrite for demanding special treatment and not doing what everybody else needs to do is a bit disingenuous, given his entire lack of a radio career is based on the fact that he demanded special treatment by not getting and applying for a license for KFAR in the first place from the FCC, and he didn't want to follow the rules. You know what? That's great. Pot kettle. Have fun, Chris. Um, while we're having some fun, Angel Ibarra. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to you now, Angel. You're the guy who's been very active about how Aaron and myself and everybody involved with that show productions needed to be banned from WOZO because we were disrespectful to the station and the DJs. Well, Angel, I got news for you. We weren't the ones that decided to bring muscle in to go punch people inside the studio and throw F bombs during a live broadcast. So, hey, you want to talk disrespect? I mean, you're probably the guy that deserves the least out of all of it. And I find it really, really funny as well, just on WOZO's basis, especially when they say, like Pan Walker did, that they don't have a problem with the content of the sit down, that Angel Ibarra's show gets to voice all of these radical socialist, open border immigration platforms and anarchism and all this, and yet when a conservative comes in and makes a few bad jokes, then he's the one that gets thrown off the air. Especially since, I didn't punch anybody, but Angel decided to bring somebody in who punched my producer. Well, which leads us now down to the last part of the subject, and that is, will there still be recordings? Yes, we will be recording that midday show. We will be recording the sit down every single week. We will be posting them to our extensive podcasting network every week, same time, same as usual. The only difference is now we are no longer beholden to WOZO's rules. One of which was, obviously, you can't make money from your shows. They were more than happy to take Aaron's money, but we couldn't make any money off the platforms that we were doing. So now, if you want to donate to that midday show, we have a Patreon there. You can go donate to that midday show. If you want to donate to my little conservative ramblings and bad jokes, I'll go ahead and put the Patreon link right about there. And we can actually now finally make this enterprise a bit more profitable than what it was before. Second, the chains are off. WOZO, being licensed by the FCC, was restricted by the FCC. Now that we aren't on WOZO, now that we're not on any terrestrial radio station, and it is totally on our podcast network, the chains are off. Any comedian that comes into that midday show is going to be allowed to go 100% no holds barred, uncensored. They won't have to police their language. They'll be able to say, joke about, and do whatever they want without fear of getting fined. The chains are free. And as far as the sit down goes, well, guess what? It's only going to get more obnoxious. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get to a point where you can't stand a single thing I say or do, WOZO, because we're going to expose you for the cowards and the craven simpletons that you are, not being willing to allow opposing viewpoints. And that's really the heart of it. You were so upset that two shows produced by a guy with actual radio experience, Aaron Campbell, were doing better than any other show on your station, that you decided to ban us. You're haters, period. Well, now, unfortunately, the chains are off, and you decided to declare war, and now we've got more attention on us than ever before. We've got people pouring in with their support. We've got people that are actively wondering now, why is WOZO, a station that's supposedly open to diversity and inclusion, silencing viewpoints it hates? Why is it shutting down people that they think are an ism or an ist when they're not? The simple truth is that you can't come up with any good reason other than you just didn't like what I had to say. And when people started calling for that midday show to go, which, yeah, interviews with the caretakers of sci-fi writers are really, really bad things. Uh, you just had to take it all off the air. So you know what? Good riddance to bad rubbish. That midday show will continue, and the sit down will continue. If you want to hear the sit down, you can go look for the sit down with Chris Seaton on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, tune in. Will be up everywhere, or you can go to the website, which is going to be listed right here. And we're just going to continue the ride. Folks, enjoy it because it's only going to get better from here. Until next time, this has been a special report of the Sit Down with Chris Seaton. Take care of yourselves and each other, and wait until episode 4 because it's going to get really, really good there. Peace.